Greetings. So this is going to be part 2 of my top suggested divine feminine decks that every inner goddess needs to have in their collection. As a heads up, you guys, please don't mind my nails. My nails look crazy. Okay, I'm shamed, but I'm like, I'm just gonna give it what I got. Okay, so first deck we have is the Brown Girl Tarot by the lovely Fontaine Felicia Foxworth. She's a beautiful person. I hope she's doing well nowadays. I haven't seen her around on social media, but she created this deck independently. Now, I don't usually like decks where there's real people in them, but I feel like this was a artistic collection and piece that I had to buy. I bought this deck maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. So shout out to her. I wanted to give sis her flowers by including this deck in part 2. I almost forgot about this deck, that I had it because it came in a little silk bag. But anywho, the Amenti Oracle is next. And the Amenti Oracle is a deck based off of the Principles of Mayat, if I'm not mistaken, or the Emerald Tablets. This deck has an alternative feel to it, very etheric type of vibe as well. I love the softness, but also the depth. Some characters, their eyes, they don't have any eyes or pupils, but I love it. It's kind of like a goth, but soft goth type of look to it. Like I said, it has an alternative type of vibe to it. This deck is really good for shadow work or just checking in with yourself, humbling and grounding yourself, weighing and balancing out your inner scales. Okay, shout out to this deck. Next deck is one of my favorites. If you are a mermaid lover, as I am, the Oracle of the Mermaids, Magical Message of Healing, Love, and Romance by Lucy Cavendish is for you. This is a larger size Oracle deck. It has a gloss finish. It has keywords on it, easy for beginners to understand and to read, I feel. Beautiful imagery. They do have male characters included in this deck because they do touch on romantic subjects as well. They have babies in this deck too. It's a all around beautiful deck and energy. I love using it from time to time. It is quite accurate, very colorful, vibrant, very sultry, siren vibes here, ethereal vibes. So next deck, the Mythical Goddess Tarot by Miss Jane Wallace. Now Jane Wallace has a few decks that I love and I own. Her style is pretty similar as far as like how she styles her cards with the title of the card, the keyword on the card, and her suits through ace through 10 only show the cups, the wands, the pentacles, the swords. I'm not a fan of that always, but with her decks, I feel these are beginner friendly because they will always include that keyword. The guidebook with this deck does include color. This deck has goddesses through the major arcanas. There are male characters. So the next deck we're going to look at is the Sacred Sisterhood Tarot. I love this deck. Okay. All female deck. This has a very diverse take on the tarot. And I am going to quickly go through the rundown of this deck because I haven't used it quite a bit. I've used it just not a lot, but I do like it. I like the kind of vintage look to it, like it's an old deck. Kind of, it has that ash look to it, kind of brownish, like it's been worn and used before. Kind of reminds me of the Cat's Tarot. This has a matte finish to it, not a standard tarot size, a little bit bigger than that. The suits or the names of the cards are in Spanish as well. Not hard to understand if you know Spanish by numbers. It's not going to be hard to discern what is the court cards and what are the major arcana cards in the aces. All right, so next card is the OG of the tarot community. This deck is the trailblazer within itself of the diversity of decks, and I've had this deck so long that it's so worn out. The tarot girls and guys love this deck just as much as I do. So you know this deck. You've seen it around. You've seen me use it a lot. This deck is like my fave, one of my faves at least. It does have a gloss finish. It is about a normal tarot size, I believe. No color in the guidebook, but that's okay. So the deck, it has all female characters, very colorful. It does have a humble take on the tarot. Very everyday, average situations. So this is a easily relatable deck to use. I also like the fact that they have two versions of the Ten of Swords. The second version is everything is fine. And everything is fine, I guess, is reassuring that everything is going to be okay. So the next deck here is a must-have. If you are aware of who the Sibyls are, the Sibyls of Oraculum, Oracle of the Black Doves of Africa. This deck is, I love it. It has its own systems. You do have to read it in a specific way. So I've had to split this deck into categories because you have to read it. Yes, you can use your own intuition, but it helps to read it how it's meant to. So this isn't a shuffle in and pull some cards out. You have to kind of separate the cards because there are different placements and categories. But this deck right here, it does have like a homework section in the guidebook that you could do before you actually read with the deck. So this is very intentional, and I love the fact that the art, Tiana Lee McQuaylar, created this deck. So shout out to her. Yeah, I love the ancient look. It kind of has like the ancient temples, like with the art painted on the walls, and it gives that look, that vibe. So if you are aware of who the Sibyls are, it would make sense to why they chose the art this way. But yeah, this is a deck that you would use for shadow work as well. I feel most definitely, if you want to go deep, dark, in depth. So next up is a new baby to my collection, the Modern Goddess Tarot. I've only had her for a few months. This deck is by Cecilia Latari. It's a also all female inclusive deck. It reminds me of the Modern Witch kind of. This also has like a humble take on the tarot, everyday average life situations. So I like it. I love the guidebook, how it has all blue pages and color. It has a box within a box, so you can take that little external box and, you know, put it in your purse, your backpack, whatever. So the deck is gloss finish. It does have a standard tarot size, kind of similar to the Modern Witch. They're about the same size. The deck does have young and old characters. What I love about this deck is that instead of the king, they have the crone, which is an elder woman, which I really appreciate that. So yeah, you would love this deck if you just want like simplistic reads, straightforward. All right. This deck did not get her just due. For some reason, when I edited this video firsthand, I did not include the cards, which is goofy of me. So I might have to do a separate video if you're interested. So the next deck that we have here is the Women of Myth Oracle guidebook deck. This is by Maria Sophia Mar Mendez. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. This deck right here has a little bit of the characters are a little bit harsher. They're not all sexy and painted glamorously, which I appreciate that. So this deck has different categories: the goddesses, the heroines, the monsters. Which other ones? I think there's 3 categories within this deck. So they will have some familiar goddesses and maybe some that you are not familiar with. The guidebook, I feel like it's helpful to understand. They have the history, the card meaning, and the advice of each card, and keywords are included. So not hard for beginners to read. This does have a standard oracle size. It has a matte finish to it, but new baby to my collection, but I appreciate it. So, all right. Moving on to the Medicine Woman Oracle by Catherine Mellard. I love this deck. It's new to my collection as well. I'm shocked that I never even seen it before. The deck does kind of have a feel that gives me Native American energy vibes to it, which I appreciate. If you have Native American heritage, you may appreciate this deck. It has guidance. It has sacred rituals and messages, keywords. The art is gorgeous. I love how they have animal totems included in this deck as well. There are categories with this deck too. So each card has like a different color on the back part. See how it's red? There's blue, there's green, I think orange or something like that. So there's different colors to let you know what category you are reading. Guidebook, like I said, comes in handy. Read it along with your intuition. I feel like this is an easy read. whether you are a beginner or you're advanced. Okay. So I appreciate this deck. It's gorgeous. It's powerful. Next deck. How could we not? This is one of my babies. Like, this deck by Ebola Abrams is the African Goddess Rising Oracle. If you don't mind melanated people in your deck, this is based off of African goddesses, and I just love the the depiction of each goddess, the colors, the style. Like, she went in on this. Okay, whoever the illustrator was, they went into fine detail, the jewelry, the garments, and everything along with this deck is just beautiful. There are some male characters in this deck. It's not all women. Some of these styles, I would rock some of these styles. Okay, they kind of look like um photo shoots. Like, some of these cards, these would easily be gorgeous photo shoots for, a realistic, real women in real life. But the guidebook is also useful. They have different temples as well. Now, this deck right here, y'all, some of y'all asked me about this deck when I first posted the cards. This is new to my collection, and I can't believe I'm just now seeing it, but it's called the Black Moon Lilith Cosmic Alchemy Oracle by Adama Cisse. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right. So this deck is a melanated dominated deck. So if you don't mind seeing black folks in your decks, you'll love this. Just beautiful different depictions, and it has astrology based messages as well. The guidebook is one of those things that are helpful. They have male characters in this deck. They kind of touch on relationships, so you will see some men in here as well. You will see some naked bodies in here, just letting you know. But the colorful aspect of it is not, it's a vibrant deck, but I wouldn't say it's colorful. It kind of has like a metallic, kind of like dark-esque to it, which I don't mind it if you don't mind it, but this is a pretty dope deck to use. I would suggest. I do like shadow work reads with this, or dark feminine messages with this deck as well. So, must have in your collection. Honorable mention, the Britney Spears Oracle deck. Now, I seen this deck on Amazon when it was on pre-order. It was about a year or two ago, and I had to have it. I love pop culture. When I was a little girl, I was a Britney Spears fan, so I appreciate this deck. The guidebook is attached to the deck, which is cool. If this is a easily, you can travel with this deck pretty much. It's very easy to read, or pull out. You know what I'm trying to say. So this is a matte finish deck. It does have kind of like a tarot size, not an oracle size, but a tarot size width and length to it. They have some iconic Britney Spears looks on here, music videos, performances, and some things that, represent her personality, her character. One of my favorite cards in this deck is the Oops, I Did It Again, the lucky card. They have the stewardess from it's called Toxic. Oh my god, I can't even think. But yeah, you'll notice some iconic looks on here. I do feel like this was an honorable mention. I love it. It's actually an accurate deck to read with. If you think it's not, you're wrong. So last but not least, I'm so excited, is the Alexis Raccoon deck. And you guys might be familiar with her. She's quite popular. Her art is quite popular on Instagram. Probably seen it around. And I'm following her, and I had no idea that she created this deck, the Magical Spirit Oracle, the Balance of You, or the Brilliance of You. Excuse me. Beautiful deck. I love that that gold foil on the box. So let's look at the babies. Let's look at this deck right here. So the cards are split into 4 elements as well. Each card has an affirmation, a manifestation, work inside of the guidebook. It has also keywords on the front of the deck, and you'll also see some quotes on the deck as well. This is a very grounded energy, kind of gives me a new agey, kind of hippie vibe, ethereal vibe to it, which makes the deck even more beautiful and just right up my alley. This deck is cool if you need a little bit of pep in your step, a little encouragement, and just a positive perspective, and kind of reassuring. So the colors are very. So I have to give her the just due that she deserves. The mythical goddess tarot deck. I don't know how I forgot this clip. This deck is full color. Okay, it has 4 different colors for each suit: the earth, air, fire, water, and the major arcana is purple. Major arcanas include the goddesses. I think there are some male characters in here. I can't really remember. This is new to my collection. I've been sleeping on this deck for a while, for years actually. It's a very small size deck. It's not like average tarot size, so it's easy to shuffle. In my opinion, it is a gloss finish deck. Very gorgeous pops of color incorporated into this deck. It does have kind of a early 90s type of feel to it, or art type of style to it. I'm not sure how old this deck is, but this needed to be included. So shout out to this deck. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you guys would like to see more tarot reviews or my collection. So as a gift, I'm going to shuffle a card for you guys from the Magical Spirit Oracle deck. So the card that you got was the Fairy. Blessings flow, magical energy. It says you are a badass, keep winging it. And that you are. Shout out to my fairy gangsters, my fairy dragons, my fairy mermaids. You guys are appreciated. Much love as always. Peace.